trip on June 15th. There we go, Barbara. Hey.
So this is July 15th, 2021, Brighton Emergency Ops meeting.
There we go. And we're going to start with you, Barbara, because we went on a field trip on June 15th for the Watershed Fuels Reduction Project. And we now have an application form that we can talk to neighbors about maybe possibly having some work done on our property. And I think Bart was taking advantage of that. But Barbara was going to kind of tell us about how that field trip went and what it's about. And then also Brooke met just yesterday or the day before with the same group and can do some reporting for his area down there on the same thing. Because I think you're going to take advantage of some of that too, as I understand it, Brooke, from your email. So Barbara, why don't you go ahead first and kind of fill us in on how that went and what it was about, and we'll let Brooke talk for a minute about his meeting yesterday.
Okay, well, it was kind of an exciting field trip. And so since mid-June, we've been publicizing this fuels mitigation project. It's where homeowners can request an assessment of their property. And depending on the recommendations of the fuel guy, who is named Dax Reed up at Utah Forest Fire and State Lands, you could be eligible to have wildfire crews come to do fuels reduction work on your property at no cost. Now, this isn't just chipping, it is whole trees or whatever they feel that you need. It's a result of extra FEMA funding being allocated to fighting wildfire in the West and hopefully being proactive about doing that rather than cleaning up after wildfire. But we had no applications until yesterday when Bart decided to kind of stir up his community. And I've had several yesterday and today, and I'm kind of excited to see how it goes because we've not done this before and I'm not sure how it works. So you're all our guinea pigs, but all you have to do is submit this application to me. It's on the town website, or it's in the newsletters, and I will forward it to Dax Reed. So it's just as easy as that. Do I have any applicants here on the line? Kurt?
Yeah, I was going to ask Barb, does it apply to the Forest Service land for the leases or not? Do you know?
You know, I'm going to ask that. I'll sign you up otherwise.
We've got several people I think I could, let's put it this way, they need the cajoling.
Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah. I think it was aimed mostly at private property. Jane, I don't know, Brooke.
Yeah, that's what I understood. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
they would still be able to go that 150 feet away from the private property. Is that correct?
Yes, yes, on the Forest Service land. Still, they'd be able to do that. So that's exciting. So that's what I have. I'm excited to hear what Brooke found today.
So when I went on the field trip with Barbara, I asked Dax Reed about the Lower Canyon, and he said, well, let's have a special meeting down there. They had recently done an assessment, and in the Lower Canyon, it's considered a high-risk fire area for 2 or 3 reasons. One, there's a lot of timber down. 2, it's narrow, and if the wind blows, it'll shoot along quickly. And 3, it has Forest Service right up against it, but it's the Wilderness Forest Service where they're reluctant to fight fires. So we had a meeting, and we had 3 people who own most of the land in our area. Mike wasn't able to come, and he's down below in Maxfield. Hi, Mike. And we walked the property, and they're going to include us. We have a lot of down timber, and so it went really well. And then he wanted us to participate and do a lot of, to be kind of a partnership where, and then he wanted us to get a lot of the timber to that flat space, which used to be Sam McNutt's garden, but is now owned by Frank Ivory. And so we're trying to get on Barbara's schedule for a September chipper thing where they could just bring a rig down into that space and really do a lot of chipping. But anyway, it went really well. They were there about an hour. 3 of them came, including Dax, and it was good. Barbara, I didn't know that we needed to fill out those applications. They didn't mention that. Should we do that?
I think it might be a good idea.
Okay, and it's in the newsletter, right? So I'll get everybody to.
Right. Well,
Okay.
let me resend it to this group. So
Okay,
since we've been talking about it.
thank you.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was just a good meeting, and they felt like, because, the problem is that whether you have the sort of city boundary, the town of Brighton or whatever, it's still the whole canyon. And so if a fire starts down below, it could quickly get up above. So we're just trying to work the whole canyon, the whole ecosystem.
Hey, so for Kurt right there, aren't you in Mill D, Kurt?
Yes.
Well, don't you think that they would say, oh, even if they don't own that land, it still could catch on fire. We ought to go there. Doesn't that seem,
Yeah.
I mean, it seems stupid that they would go, oh, no, you don't own your land, so we're not going to help you.
Yeah, I agree with that. And my concern is also we have these wires that keep dropping and our live wires down on the ground for days. I mean, we've had this now more than once, and it's, we're just sitting ducks.
But in my mind, it would be prudent to send in your application and don't even say you're sitting on Forest Service land. They can figure that out. Maybe, Barbara?
Absolutely.
I mean, it doesn't make sense to say, oh, no, you guys lease your land. Well, then do something for what we pay for the lease.
And no
You know,
kidding.
I don't know.
Let's try that. If you think that's okay, we'll try that. I'm sure I can get a couple of folks involved, and let's trial balloon it. How's that?
Let's do.
I think it's worth it. Yeah.
We're new to this. We don't know any better.
So the guy from Wildfire, Jeff, do you know him? I don't know his last name, Jeff somebody.
Jeff, what?
He said he didn't think that the Forest Service down our way was a problem, that he'd interacted with them and to save structures and for the concern of all the people doing rock climbing and everything, he didn't think that was a problem. He thought they would just fight fires normally down there. So.
Good. Yeah. So I think anybody that wants to apply should apply. And then, yeah, Barbara, they can let us know if they can do it or not, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I'll send it out to everybody here.
Okay.
I've been thinking about him all day today. There's nothing.
Is that Karen? Now I can't hear you, Barbara. You're muted. Unmute, yeah. Okay. All right, can you hear me? Okay. All right. The next item on our agenda is just an update on all of our team directories. I've been working on that since I got home this afternoon. I got
This is why.
a whole list of people who either emailed me individually or I received some from several of you. Mike, I got your whole list that I'm updating. And did somebody want to say something? I've been adding that to the master list as well. So Kara and Barbara, I'll probably be sending you another updated master list in the next day or two because I've put so many new things on there. So I need to send that to you as well. But if we can just keep working on that for your neighborhoods, I think I have most of the people who are on here tonight. I think I have most of your neighborhood information. And I know Jolene had said she was going to send me some more things too. So we'll just keep updating. I know that properties keep changing hands. We have several properties that are for sale right now in the canyon, and we'll just have to keep updating it. We have a new system that it's called One Call Now. How many of you did receive a message on June 26th? So it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. Okay.
I got it.
You either should have gotten a text message or an email or both, or if you had a landline, you maybe even got a message on your landline. So as much information as I have is what it sent it out to. And we did contact a lot of people that day. So good. Excellent. And Todd, you said you got it also? And Nick, did you receive messages?
Yes, I did.
Okay, good.
I got it as well.
I wanted to, good. Terrific. I wanted to test as many walkie-talkies as we could tonight. Barbara and I kind of had fun testing ours the other day. I got Bart set up with one that should work tonight. And what we thought we could do is if we all put ourselves on mute, what I'll do is I guess I'll turn mine on and say something and everybody can raise their hand if they're hearing it. Do you think that might
Wait,
work?
What channel are we on, Jane?
We're on channel 22.
And then how do we find that? How
So
do
you
we?
so you push menu and then you
Okay.
press the up button until you get to 22.
Okay. Let me put myself on mute so it's not ringing. Okay, I'm on.
Okay. So I'm gonna, I don't know if I need to mute myself too, but I'm gonna try to, is everybody got theirs on? And you can turn your volume up too, I think. And we may or may not.
I'm not going to be able to. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to test mine. I'm not at home. I'm actually at the Brighton store still working.
Oh, I'll test you on another day, Todd.
Okay.
Yeah. And yours is a little different walkie-talkie, but I'm hoping we can still communicate with yours. So we'll cross our fingers. Okay. Okay, this is Jane, over. Did anybody hear me?
Jane, what channel are you on?
Do you want me to unmute, Barbara? You're,
I think you should mute Jane, and I didn't, oh, let's see. I think you should mute yourself and then try it. I didn't get it. I heard you on the computer, but not on the deal. I'm gonna mute.
okay.
Right. So everybody's muted? Did Kamaya get on channel 22?
Oh, 22.
Yeah.
How do you-
Is that
It's me.
Karen?
Yeah, I'm always using Kaya.
Oh.
Sorry. It's just set up for her, but I always use it. How do you do that? How do you get to 22?
Oh, so
Okay, press
um,
menu and then you hit the plus button.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Doesn't go to 22. It goes to 11 and then starts over.
I can hear you, Karen.
You can hear me, but I can't. I didn't push anything.
Are we supposed, is it supposed to be some mode, a different mode? I just got channel 22 and then a 0 on the bottom below it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I have too.
Okay.
Okay, down 22.
So did you think you heard something, Kim?
Yeah, I heard Karen.
Did you hear me say test, test?
No,
No. So were you hearing Karen on her computer?
no, I was hearing her from my radio.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Shoot.
okay. I'm gonna walk out on my deck here, Barbara, and just I'll just say test, test. This is a test. Then I'll come back in and we'll see. Okay. It's the best we can do tonight, I guess. All right. I'm gonna mute.
Yes, I heard you.
I heard it.
I heard it as well. Can't hear you, Joe. You're muted.
Okay. Did anybody hear that?
I heard you.
Yes, yes.
So Barbara, Jolene, Kim,
Karen.
Karen. Okay, guys, you're going to just burn up because I can't get a hold of you. But where are you? Are any of you at your cabins? Bart is.
I'm here, but not getting anything on the radio.
Okay. And I didn't think you would with all those trees around your house.
Yeah.
And Kurt, you're at your cabin?
Yeah, I'm the highest in Mill D, but we face west. And I saw in the tiny print, it said these things only work line of sight.
Right.
So it could be that this is one of those things where even little ups and downs make a difference.
Well, what I was thinking, because I started thinking about this when I was at Bart's house today, you know, if we had an emergency, my first message would be sent out on our call one now. And then if we evacuated, like if you guys were to go to Cardiff Fork or to Silver Fork Lodge or to the Brighton Loop, you know, the Brighton Loop, or the fire station, wherever you were evacuating to, if you took your radio with you, then I might be able to get in contact with you if phones didn't work or something else, because you would be more in a line of sight. When Barbara and Jeff and Carolyn tested these last year, Barbara, you said you went to Mill D, but were you at the bottom of Mill D, like at the bottom of the
Oh.
road?
I was at Kurt's place.
Oh, you were?
Yeah. And I wonder if Kurt and Bart could hear each other.
Yeah. Why don't we let them try?
It's also a wonder if it works outside, on the deck. That might be another thing.
Oh, yeah. I didn't go in your house, Kurt.
I
You
could go
could.
outside and we could try that. Another thought might be is to try and test these, every quarter or something of the year to just see how the change in temperatures might affect them and see if they work more from the road. That seems like the best places to focus on, but
Yeah. And yeah, and wondering if, with all the trees, I live in the aspen side, so I have lots of leaves right now. But
I'll go out and see if I can hear
but
Kurt.
Jolene could hear me again, so that's pretty amazing from him. Okay.
When you say line of sight, does that actually mean you've got to be able to essentially see straight down to where you're going with nothing in between?
Well, I don't know because, like I said, Jolene could hear me, and we have trees and things in between us.
I just glanced at the instructions. I should have read them by now, but haven't been able to. But I thought it said these are good for 14 miles. So that seems to me, even down as low as we are at Maxfield, we ought to be able to hear you guys up higher.
Yeah, it says up to 35 miles.
35.
And so you and Brooke could probably try to get in touch with each other. Can you guys
Yeah, we're
hear
not
each
that
other?
far away, but we should be able to reach.
You
Theoretically,
try-
we should be able to hear you guys.
It looks like Brooke had to leave, Jane. He wrote us a note.
Okay.
He says, Mike and I are working on the radios down our way. Thanks for everything.
Yeah. If you and Brooke want to see if yours are working, Mike, and yeah, I maybe try from different places. Like if I went down on the highway, I don't know if you'd be able to hear me, Mike. Bart, were you and Kurt able to hear each other?
Yes, we were actually. I went on to my east deck and he called me and we chatted. So that was a reasonable connection.
Good, good. Okay, well, yeah, I want to make sure that we test these every now and then. And I think, COVID isn't quite over with, so we can't really have a live meeting, but we maybe coordinate something where we say, okay, everybody walk down to the highway or walk out to wherever you would evacuate to, or just me being in different locations, seeing if I can get in touch with people at a set time, because I don't keep my radio on. Barbara doesn't keep hers on either because they do sometimes squawk in the night. And it's not really anybody calling us, it's just radio frequency. So, but it is good to know that from my deck, Jolene, that you could hear me.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. Yeah.
Yeah. And Kim, where are you sitting?
I'm in my office at the Brighton Center.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's all the way up here.
Yeah, I could hear you too.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty amazing that you guys could all hear. So we'll work on it, Mike. And if you and Brooke want to just make sure you guys can communicate for now, and then we'll set up another test. Maybe I'll call you one day and say, hey, okay, walk outside, or and I'll call you and we'll see if we can hear each other. And
All right.
Kurt, same thing. If you were outside, we couldn't hear you when you stayed on channel 22. We couldn't hear you from here. So obviously, line of sight might require a little different location for us. But at least we know that they're charged, that the batteries are working. We've got yours working now, Bart. It was the battery. And I am going to try to put some other batteries in it. I haven't had time to do that. and see if I can't get it working.
That'd
But,
be great.
but
Yeah.
I couldn't get that battery to charge at all. So,
One other thought is you might think if there's someone who has line of sight to Kurt, he could always connect with me if that connection could ever
you
come.
know,
up.
I wonder if Karen's pretty close down there to Pine Tree. Karen?
To Bart, or who, connect to who?
To
Connect
Kurt in
Kurt.
Mill D.
Oh, you're in Mill D. We could, well, could you hear me? Let's see. Let's try it. So it's just on 22 and.
Okay, yeah, but mute your voice with us.
Let's see. I'm not very good at any of this stuff, so.
Well, I can do it.
Can you mute me?
Yeah.
There. So I could hear Karen a little bit. I could hear Barbara. I don't think she could hear Kurt. No.
Hear Kurt.
No, I don't think anybody hears me, but Jared Ainsworth is usually up here and he's over on the ridge, and we really ought to test this at some point with that, because that may have a whole lot more connectivity, and he's up here so often. It's possible we should, loop him into this.
You know, you could just call me when you're up there. And
Him and I can
I'm
hear
lo-
each other, but that's all now.
Jane, I'm losing you. I know if others are.
me
Yeah,
a call.
Jane, we keep losing you on the Zoom call.
Yeah, my internet is not connecting very
And
well. on this
I'd be
call
happy,
right now either.
and that goes for all of you. I think these would be, like I said, are you there?
Use the radio. We can't hear anything on Zoom. Things are going south.
This seems to happen around 6:25 at night on TV and on all the internet connections. Everyone's on.
Yeah. They all get home from work. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Better.
Okay. All right. Well, like I said, why don't you guys, each of you, give me a call sometime when you think of it. And if I'm home, I'd be happy to try and test a few things. But this isn't our first line of defense, but I think if we, at least have a backup, that's a good idea. So let's move on. That was almost our last item. I did want to mention that we had an after action report that I emailed everybody after my initial email. There it is, Barbara. Wow, you're getting good at this. And there were some suggestions if you scroll down to where it says strengths And this was from our Wildlands tabletop training that we did with Jim Woodward at the BCCA meeting in June. And he did give us a list of strengths. One of them was that we had distributed these radios and that we were going to, run some tests and determine if we had any range or capacity. We did purchase a phone communication system, and it is working. And I'm updating it daily as I get information. We are hoping that we have, phone and Wi-Fi capability. I'm on Utah broadband, so I know mine was different than what Bart was dealing with his Verizon internet. So usually I get pretty good internet, but sometimes it's heavily used, just like all the others. And then it just having a relationship with the camps, the girls' camp, Camp Tuttle, Brighton has some day camp things going on, and knowing who's up here. And then for the Maxfield area, it kind of talked about, in our areas for improvement, if you'll scroll down, Barbara, a little bit, it talked about not knowing how many people up here were for day use. But Jim did assure us that, if there was an evacuation or an emergency, big enough emergency, there would be an alert that went out. He named a couple of systems that they have, the county has, that kind of overrides your phone like an Amber Alert, and would send an alert to some of those hikers if they had cell phones that were getting reception.
Hey, Jane. Hey, Jane.
Yeah.
There's on number 6 right there. It says there's a number of camps throughout Big Cottonwood Canyon. Some of the camps are day use and others may have people staying for up to a week. This includes a large camp at the top of the canyon. How will information be communicated to the camps and their leaders if, oh, sorry, mate, that's not it. There was something about, I thought, well, we wouldn't know how many people are in the campgrounds. There was something about campgrounds and how, then they were trying to ask how many kids, how many adults, and how many teenagers or something. It sounded like at the campgrounds, but maybe it was that about the camps, like Camp Tuttle and the church camp.
And it may have also been what I was just saying about people hiking, and parking along the roadside. But that other one is the girls' camp.
Oh.
Yeah, because she was
Okay.
on that call and was talking about, what if we had to get the girls out and so on. And they are in communication with us. I have their numbers in our emergency notification system, and they would be contacted just like everyone else. As far as the campgrounds, the 2 campgrounds, Spruces and Redmond, and even Jordan, is it Jordan Pines? Is that what it is in Cardiff? The Forest Service would also have people working the campground that would be notifying campers as well. So, but yeah, we have an unusual kind of problem here with this, how spread out everything is and how many people use the canyon besides live in the canyon and have property in the canyon. So I just wanted everyone to kind of read through that and take note. And as we have future meetings, maybe we can come up with some more ideas of how to make things work better.
Looks like Kurt has a question.
Jane, I'm one, numbers 1 and 2 to me, I think these are hierarchical. To me, these are really rather important ones. And I don't know the current status, but the communication chains for this sort of thing really are absolutely critical. And our past history with UFA in particular has been pretty fractured. with unstable crews who don't know what the canyon is and where areas are and all that sort of stuff, and don't have keys to the gates. And I could go on and on. We probably all know that. But because of that, then even their abilities to communicate are horrible, right? Because if you don't know, for example, using the example from last time, right, that Mildy's across the road from Spruces, then you're not even going to think about how you're going to alert people in that area to get the heck out of there, right? And or who's next up the canyon or down, depending on the wind direction, you know? So I think these things, these number 1 and 2 to me, as I read it anyway, are just absolutely critical. And as I read them, I currently do not feel comfort. I feel unease. And it's possible these things have been addressed, which is great. I hope they are. But in the past, I know they're not.
Rain is down in the valley. It looks like it's building up here too, so be careful, you might get thunderstorms. Well, I thought it was smoke, but it looks like clouds too. Clouds building in the wind kind of.
Jane, is that you talking?
No, that's Karen, and I think she's talking to her kids.
Oh,
Uh, so the other day, Kurt, the other day there was heavy smoke coming right into Silver Fork area. And I called Dan, our mayor, and he immediately got in touch with Dusty Dern, who is our liaison with the UFA. And Dusty was able to confirm that it was fires from California and Oregon. And that was the first day we had heavy smoke. And I just saw it. And like I said, contacted Dan. And Dan, then we kind of talked, and Dan pretty much said, he has pretty tight relationships with the UFA Dusty, and then Barbara, I'm not sure if it's Lee Arnold or who it is that
Dan Peterson, perhaps.
for the police.
Oh,
Lee Arnold is kind of the one who comes to our meetings, but Dan, our mayor, Dan Canoop, he's got pretty close relationships with those people and doesn't hesitate to call them, and I think they do communicate with him. And I am just really the liaison for our town, and work with Dan as the authority of passing word to me before I send out any messages or contact anyone. So I think, Barbara, we could have a couple more conversations with Dan as far as that goes, and working on those relationships with UFA and UPD. But Kurt, I feel pretty strongly that if there were a fire in the canyon, or since we've been talking fires, or a turned over truck on the road, Dan's the first one to hear what's going on.
Well, and I appreciate that. And the way this goes is we have to have what's next. Okay, I agree. Dusty knows all the areas, right? There's no problem with that. Dusty's asleep. Dusty's on a lake fishing. Dusty's on vacation. He's not on the job. Who's next? Who's next up? And the same question goes for our mayor. I mean, he's got vacation time too. So the planning thing needs to include who's second and who's third. It's not just one guy who can I call you next week sometime and can we talk? Well, we're talking then on their schedule, not when necessarily a fire, which is a 24/7, 365 and a quarter days a year question. So that's why we need to, I think, make sure that these things are really thinking in terms of an audit of, okay, what's next? And then you look for the fracture point,
And
the weak link.
Right. right. I was thinking about this too, and I've been, like I said, kind of had a busy week this week, so I didn't get around to putting it together. But I think what would address this also is if we created a flow chart that had that had those things on it, that and the contact information for each of those people. And so I agree with you, and I think I could work on that, and like I said, work with Dan and Barbara, and we could make sure that there were some other people involved, you know, in case we had people gone and so on. Right.
Right. That would be really great. And then the flow chart needs to be in the hands of the fire station, for example.
Right, right. And even have it posted on the wall in there too. But I think, you know, and have it go down as far as you as team leaders, and possibly some of the team members, depending on the areas. So I'll work on that. I think that that's something we could improve, yes, and make stronger. But that is how it goes. It is going to be probably Dan or whoever the mayor is at the time, and then it's going to go from there to send out an alert.
Yeah, so in the fire scenario, you know, when the winds are blowing and you got a campfire kind of situation, God forbid, there's no time. If the person on first is not available, you got to kick over immediately the person on second, and then to the person on third. There can't even be a hesitation, because otherwise there will be fatalities. And if we proactively plan it, we're going to be in great shape. And that's what's so great, because, you know, you've got such a great group of people who are all interested in making sure it works.
Yeah. Okay. Any other comments on that? Are you hearing me okay? Okay. Well, our next meeting, because we were trying to keep it to quarterly meetings, is October 21st. And I have it at 6 p.m. just because that does work best for me. But if we wanted to try a later time, we could. But I'd like to keep it at 6 p.m. if we can. Individuals, like I said, if you'll contact me, we'll try to do some more walkie-talkie tests. But we'll do them individually, so you can just call me and say, I'm with this guy who lives on the ridge, Jason, or whatever your name was, Kurt. And Bart, maybe we can test from Cardiff, from the parking area, and see if we have better contact. So just contact me on your own anytime. I'm really not planning to be gone for a while. So hopefully I'll be around when you give me a call. Any other concerns or ideas for what we need to be addressing in our newsletters between now and October, or things that I can possibly work on between now and October? Nobody's saying anything.
So Jane,
Okay.
is the campgrounds, are they still allowed to have fires in spite of the extreme or above extreme fire danger?
As I understand it, they're not considered falling under the town of Brighton and what the town of Brighton has requested. Is that correct, Barbara? They go according to the Forest Service.
Right. They feel that they have attendance and wonderful fire pits, so that they allow camping fires.
Okay,
Right. It may change.
I'm a little concerned about that, because a spark doesn't know the difference, and a spark and wind together is a very bad combination. And living next to the campgrounds, I see smoke all the time, and I'm always just a little on the leery side of, is that a fire or is that a fire? So,
Right. We've kind of pushed them on that, but they haven't budged. But they said they'll think about it.
well, I hope they think about it long and hard, because I would hate to see a fire start because of spark from because we get these little microburst winds that come right up the canyon there, and it literally can take, a spark from a campfire that's legitimate and not a problem at the time, and turn it into whatever, if there's some low hanging things around near the fire, or even just the duff on the ground is so dry right now. It's just very scary.
Exactly. Yep.
They maybe better think a little faster.
I agree.
Even the town council has talked about this on several occasions, and the Forest Service has not told them that they can't yet. So, and the governor of our state hasn't declared anything that would prevent that either. So,
But the fire signs at the
yeah,
map,
we're
yeah,
in a quandary there.
extreme fire. So yeah, it's scary.
I would hope people would make different choices.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything else?
Jane,
Well, I think next meeting.
Jane, how about congrats to
Yeah.
Jane with a new grandbaby in her house?
Congratulations.
Yeah. Like I said, my husband had surgery on Wednesday. Jolene did too. And then Saturday we had a new baby, so it's been busy. So yeah, we have a new member.
Yay. Congratulations.
Okay, well, I'm going to work on a line of communication flow chart, and I'm going to try to talk to Dan and Barbara, have some conversations with them to see what we can do as far as getting backup people lined up. I'm going to wait for individuals to contact me to do individual tests on walkie-talkies, and maybe in our newsletter, just keep putting things out there about the fire dangers is a good idea. Anything else at this time? We applied for a grant. We don't know if we're going to get it, but we applied for a grant that'll help pay for any materials, things like that. So if you have some good information and you think that it would be helpful if we printed it off and got it to our neighbors, let me know, because we do have some funding to pay for that for the rest of this year, and then hopefully we'll get the grant for next year to add to what we've already handed out. Okay, all right, well, if that's it, I wanted to keep the meeting under an hour, and it is under an hour, so get in touch with me if you think of anything else, and yeah, we'll just keep plugging ahead. I'm going to be at the Brighton Days, I think, hopefully, so I can collect some more information there from people. Okay?
Congratulations, Grandma.
Jane, get well, Jolene.
Thank you. Mine's pretty easy. Just a little
Yeah,
surgery on my
Jolene,
wrist.
At least it was the summer.
Yeah. Kind of like, it's kind of carpal tunnel thing, but on the radial side.
Oh.
But I'm good.
Okay, well, all right.
Not bad, not bad.
Good job. Well, take care.
Okay, farewell.
See you later.
She did her right hand, so she's left-handed, so. Okay, thanks a lot, Barbara, for recording this, and yeah, hopefully we can get some more radios to work as we move forward, so. Okay, Thank you. Good night.
Good night.